What is up, running family? Welcome to the Rizzo Run Club podcast. My name is Rizzo. I run all over the LA County, the nation, and the world. You can follow all my adventures on Instagram on Rizzo.runs. This podcast is dedicated to the 40th running of the Los Angeles Marathon. And welcome to LA Marathon Race Week. If you are watching this, we are recording today on March 1st, but we will be releasing this on race week for the 40th running of the Los Angeles Marathon. My guests today are very fitting of the circumstances of race day because in Los Angeles, we are approaching the 40th running of the LA Marathon, and there are an incredible group of runners who have run every single LA Marathon since 1986. They call them the Legacy Runners, LA Marathon Legacy Runners, and I have two representatives today here who are getting ready to line up for their 40th marathon. So we welcome to my right, Legacy Lou Briones. Welcome to the Rizzo Run Club podcast.
Thank you. Happy to be here.
Yes, and then, of course, the voice of the Legacy Runners, my friend Cliff there. Welcome to the Rizzo Run Club podcast.
Thank you so much. Pleasure to be here.
See, look at that voice. It's amazing. And you can't see, but on this table, they have brought every single LA Marathon for the past 39 runnings. Is just absolutely incredible. I'm going to film it after so that while we're watching this, you can see it on the screen, but it's just impressive, right? And they were just lining all these up right now. And just real quick, like, I'll start with you, Lou. What are your thoughts when you see all these medals? I mean,
It's just unbelievable. None of us could imagine that we would be doing this race 40 years in a row. And here are the medals that prove that we did it. And it's still hard to believe, you know. We just go 1 year at a time, and over time you stop and you go, holy mackerel, we're going to be doing our 40th year now. How did this happen?
yeah.
It's unbelievable.
Yeah, incredible. Cliff, what do you think? I mean, any thoughts?
Who would have thought? Who would have thought?
Yeah.
I was in my garage in Mission Viejo working in the yard, and I heard an LA Marathon advertisement, and I thought, oh, my God, if I could do that. And 40 years later,
Wow.
we're doing it again. I mean, just think about it, those who are listening to this, where you were 40 years ago, and you were in the same place, same time, same city, and doing it again with 92 of the most fantastic people that have continued to do it 3 years. And when you think about those numbers, if there's 10 to 15,000 runners per race times 40 races,
Yes.
that's an amazingly small percentage of people that have continued to do it.
It's incredible. I mean, absolutely incredible. We had breakfast this morning after a run. We were talking about this. There was one gentleman, I believe you mentioned, he missed the first race, but he's ran the last.
He ran 38 years in a row, and unfortunately was not able to run the first one for whatever personal reasons he had. But he is still continuing to this day, and I saw him this morning at the run.
Sure.
And you know, he's happy. He's happy that that he did it, and he's going to continue doing it. And we're getting recognition for it. You know, every chance I get, I tell people about it. And you know, I bring notice to other people that have done so many marathons, so many LA marathons, and you know, there's quite a few people. I don't have a list, but I know personally several people that have done multiples of 5, 10, 15, 20, 25 of these races, but they have not done all of them as
Sure.
we have.
It's a prize. It's a prize to run 39, but we know people in our group that have run 38, and they still run with us.
Yes.
Because it represents, you know, being with this group of people and being there every year on and on again. And they are, it's just a stunning group of every age. The youngest, Amy, is 50.
She's 55.
55, and the
soon
youngest
to be
guy.
56.
Yeah. youngest guy is 58.
Yeah, 58.
Two guys at 87, one at 88.
Amazing.
I mean, it is stunning. Can you imagine?
No.
Can you imagine? I can't.
I can. I don't think the city of
And
Los
Lou's
Angeles.
getting close to that age.
Yeah. Now we have this thing, right? I've gone out to your runs a couple of times, and you guys have this thing like who's going to be the last legacy standing,
Yes.
meaning the last person
Standing.
Yeah.
And continuing to do this race long after the rest of us have retired.
Yeah, Johnny Chin and I.
Johnny Chen.
Yeah, we did that on the marathon broadcast one time.
Yeah.
And, he's a stud.
He really is.
He's-
But you
he's-
as well, Cliff. I mean, I've been out there. You can move out there.
Well, yeah, I'm okay.
yeah.
But
yeah.
we all have our issues. It's not about anymore. It's about who signs up, who shows up,
yeah.
and who finishes the race. That's what
Sure.
it's about.
Absolutely.
That's the accomplishment. That's 40 years in the earning.
Yeah.
It's an Academy Award.
It really is. I mean, and you're about to receive the Academy Award this March 6th. All of you.
We hope so.
Hopefully,
We hope
hopefully, yeah. So, I'm going to ask Cliff. I'm going to ask you this after we did kind of touch on this morning. But Cliff, what inspired you? I mean, besides the advertisement you heard, what inspired you to try and run the first LA Marathon in 1986? Was it just? Did you watch the Olympics? They had just happened. The marathon. Was it? What was your story?
So, my father died at 48
Okay.
of a heart attack. My father-in-law died of a heart attack at 53.
Okay.
And I said that I want to see my kids' kids.
Sure.
And I said, I smoked at the time.
Okay.
I was single at the time, chasing around. And I said, I got to change my lifestyle. And so I did. And I started running. And I mean, that was it. And so now I have 3 grandchildren and 1 great grandchild.
Yeah.
And so that was my original motivation. But to be honest with you, it comes in stages. First of all, the first stage was that what I just said. The second stage was that at 5 years, they sent us a plaque. They sent us a plaque in the mail. And it was like, oh my God, I've done this 5 years in a row. Right? It's like, that was amazing.
Sure.
And then in about 2002, Lou started the Legacy Runners. And to be perfectly honest with you, the first year I said, these folks are too old for me, and then not long after that, I realized what a phenomenon it was. And it is truly a phenomenon.
Sure.
Butchers, bakers, candlestick makers, doctors, engineers of this group of Legacy Runners.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a stunning, stunning group of people.
It really is.
And that today, I think you would maybe agree that is what carries us on. It's if it wasn't for Legacy, I'm not sure I'd be doing it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Many people among the legacies have stated that if it wasn't for our getting to know each other and getting, doing these runs together and sharing our stories, that they probably would have quit, long time ago.
Sure.
Because they would have been a one-off, right? Now they're not a one-off anymore.
Not anymore. No.
We keep going and going, and nobody really wants to drop out. It's something that can continue, as long as we're healthy and we're motivated to keep going. I think most of us, like myself, are going to keep going until we can't anymore.
Right. And before I get to the question, I want to ask you the same question I asked Cliff. Right now, there's 93?
Yeah, there's actually 93 that completed in 2024, completed their 39th marathon. But we did lose one.
Right.
Sadly, we lost one in January. So,
bummer. Yeah.
But on the plus side, his son is going to carry
Beautiful.
his bib.
Beautiful.
And his name is Samuel Gardner Jr., and his son is also named Samuel. So we will give him Samuel, his dad's bib, so that he can wear it and he'll get recognition during the race.
It's a beautiful tribute. Yeah. 93. you're expecting, maybe both of you too, we had this conversation, that maybe this is the 40th. Maybe some of the legacy runners were trying to take it to 40 and may, hang up the boots, so to say, after the 40th. It's possible.
I'm not copping to that. Look at. We do a couple of things. We do no legacy left behind.
Yes,
and so,
which we're going to get to, yes.
We are cheering those people on to get there to the finish.
Yeah.
It's just another niche for them to finish, right?
Right.
Another way to keep the group together.
And so they know that there's going to be somebody there at the finish line. But I want to back up to your last question.
Yeah.
If it wasn't for Lou creating this group, we wouldn't be sitting here today.
Sure.
And if you look around the marathons around the world and around the country, they don't have what we have. And so if it wasn't for Lou doing what he did, collecting email addresses,
yep,
that's how it started.
Yep.
Right?
Yeah.
And put this group together. And so if it wasn't for that, we wouldn't be sitting here today.
Sure.
Yeah.
So it's it's just completely remarkable. I mean, everyone I talk to in the running community, has so much respect and admiration for you. It's amazing. So.
Well, if I can add to that, we also can give credit to Bill Burke and Marie Patrick, who
Absolutely.
Created the marathon in the first place.
Yeah.
Way back in right after the '84 Olympics that were held here in Los Angeles, and let's see, what was I going to say now? Well,
but going to talk about Bill Burke, I mean, I wish they would make a special recognition for Bill.
Right, and we have invited him to our celebration in the past, and he's come graciously, made his appearance along with Mary Patrick. But if it wasn't for them, and specifically for, I think, Jane Jones, who was the person that registered the runners way back in '86, all the way through 95, I believe, is when or 96, when the race was turned over to another company. And she kept track of all of the people that made it possible to get that 5-year plaque that was only given to the people that had completed all 5 of the first LA marathons.
Yes.
And so that started the trend, and that's what the Legacy Runner Club appeal has been used now by a lot of, if not all, of the major races across the country. They all keep track of their legacy runners. But I'm proud to say that the LA Marathon created the very first group of legacy runners, and they've, every 5 years, after the first 5 years of recognition, we were recognized every 5 years after that.
Right.
At 10 years, at 15 years, we have the medals there to show the 5-year increments.
They had shoes. We had ASICS. We have ASICS running shoes that they gave us. The LA Marathon Legacy Runner shoes.
Amazing.
Yeah.
I think you mentioned at the 5-year mark, you guys had a recognition at City Hall, and at 5 years there were 500 legacy runners.
Yes, I believe the number was 589 legacy runners at year 5, which is the year that I met Cliff, one of the few legacy runners that I met at that 5-year event. And just because we sat close together and we started
really good
chatting.
Looking then, right?
Yeah. And we had lunch that day, and I don't know.
I
Cliff,
remember
do you
that.
remember that?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. But then we didn't, we didn't create the group until 2002. So we didn't really see each other until that time.
Yeah.
And, after getting to know him, I didn't even remember that we met each other before. But, after a while, it came back to me.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it was that was great. We got to go to the LA City Council chambers in the City Hall, downtown LA.
Was that Tom Bradley's time still?
That was Tom Bradley's time. It was Nate Holden, a councilman that was actually presiding over the event, and they gave us this big proclamation.
Yeah.
with the city logo. Actually, this logo. This is actually the very first T-shirt,
Yes.
by the way.
Yeah.
It still fits, sort of.
It's a good sign. It's a good sign there.
So we got that, and we got the plaque, and we got the recognition, and the council chambers was full of legacy runners.
Well, and so just I responded to that. We were very instrumental in the fact that they changed the race to Memorial Day. Lou, help me out if I'm wrong here, and they wanted to leave it on Memorial Day, and it didn't work. No. And so we went. I think we were at city council meetings 3 or 4 times.
Yeah, lots of times. And we went to visit the individual council members and lobbied them, and requesting that they reconsider their vote and to vote it back to our regular time frame, which was in early to mid-March of every year. So we achieved that. It took a lot of hard work and probably 6 months of time before we got the vote at city council chambers, and all of the councilmen voted to restore our traditional race day.
Yeah. So that was good.
Amazing. What inspired you prior to 1986? Were you running races or running at all prior to 86?
I was running races, but I was running 5Ks and 10Ks, and never imagined, never considered, never wanted to run any distance farther than that.
Yeah.
I mean, that was just... I didn't like running in the first place.
But you ran some triathlons, right?
Not yet. Not yet.
Okay.
I didn't know how to swim yet.
Oh.
But, so it happened when, in 1984, when I decided I wanted to go watch the marathon. And the marathon started at Santa Monica.
The Olympics,
yes, in 1984. And I positioned myself at mile 17, which was right on the edge of Culver City and on the 91 freeway.
And did they let the spectators on the freeway?
Yes. Not on the freeway, but alongside the street. Once they came off the freeway, then the streets were lined, lots of people were lined up on either side of the street.
Yeah.
And it was overwhelming to me. I was in awe of how fast these runners were running at mile 17, meaning that up to that point they've been running at this high pace, which was unbelievable.
Yeah.
But somehow I thought, nah, not me. I could never do that. But then, a year later, it was advertised in the newspapers and every place else, on TV, and they said, because of the interest that the city took in the 1984 Olympic Marathon, we're going to start a marathon in Los Angeles for the community. And so I thought, okay, maybe just this once, I will run a marathon, and forever I'll be able to say that I ran the very first LA Marathon. And that's as far as I took it.
Wow.
Honestly, I think that's many people's motivation. If I could just do it once.
Yes, absolutely.
Now you look at Sharon Kirsten. She's up to like 630 marathons.
And
who knows what?
Yeah.
Hard to keep track.
Yeah, she's amazing.
But the further amazing is that her first marathon was LA.
Yeah.
So she did 600 plus marathons in that 40-year time span.
Absolutely amazing. Yeah. Cliff, you had mentioned that you had heard an advertisement. So were they advertising, the very first LA Marathon through radio, TV? Was it newspapers?
Obviously it impacted me because I've remembered it all these years.
Yeah.
I happen to be in the garage and I'm listening to the radio and I'm hearing this advertisement and I just thought, wow.
Yeah.
If I could just do one.
Yeah.
And truth is, I did one. I actually ran the Orange County Marathon before.
Okay.
And my work took me to the Valley, and so I used to drive by this running shop all the time. And so I couldn't go into the running shop because I don't know, I didn't qualify. Couldn't walk in there.
Yeah.
So I ran the Orange County Marathon, and so then I decided, okay, now I can walk into this running shop and buy a pair of running shoes. Turns out it was owned by Laszlo Tabori. And I walked in, and he said, "Yes, what can I do to help you?" And I said, "Well, I want to buy a pair of running shoes." And he says, "What kind of running do you do?" And I said, "Well," my chest all stuck up. I said, "I just ran the Orange County Marathon in 4 hours and 6 minutes." And he laughed at me.
Yeah.
And he said, "If you run with me, I will make you faster."
Yeah.
And he did.
He did.
And he did for sure.
He was like a world-class athlete, though. He was a coach as well, right?
Yeah, third fastest man to run a sub 4 minute mile.
Yeah, it's so amazing.
1956 Melbourne Olympics.
Wow, incredible.
Yeah.
And you told me this story before, and I think I told you, like, it's almost like it was destiny at that moment for you to walk in, right? And then be coached by this incredible athlete.
Yeah.
And then to accomplish everything you did after.
Yeah,
which
5 years, and
yeah.
he was a brutal guy, man. He was tough.
Yeah.
He was hard. But anyway, so.
And it's kind of like, destiny, the way you went to go watch the Olympics, and that made you come out to the first marathon. And I could tell in my story, and anyone watching this as well, that they all had that one moment where someone inspired them, and that's it. Took off after that. And then it's just absolutely remarkable, the power of running and, destiny. So, yeah.
And the moments you wanted to quit.
Absolutely.
The moments you want to quit.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You're going 18 miles and you go,
Yeah.
"What am I doing here?"
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Am I crazy? I'm never going to do this again, right?
Exactly. How many times
And then you
we've all said-
continue.
Yeah.
And then as a side note, I had 5 neighbors in my neighborhood that ran with me. And I said one year, "I'm not going to run the LA Marathon." And they said, "Oh, yes, you are."
Yeah.
And he's like forced me to get up and go running with him.
Yeah, sure.
So there's a lot of situations that got us there, kept us there, which brings me to mind about Lou running in crutches. Crutches. The guy did it in crutches, if you can imagine.
We're a dedicated group.
Yeah.
Is that insanity or what?
So the whole way, Lou, in crutches?
The whole way.
way.
How
yeah.
long did it take you?
Well, I kind of dawdled a little bit. I stopped in at a McDonald's, had a hamburger and
3
fries.
days. 3 days.
I had
Serious.
I had 2 friends that popped up in Beverly Hills when I was out there, and they had some Coronas in their bag.
As you
And
should,
so,
yes.
So I had a couple of those right there, and as you can tell, I wasn't in any hurry.
And what year was this?
That was 2014.
Okay, so pretty recent.
It's pretty recent, yeah.
And this was the Stadium to the Sea course, or the
In
current?
2014.
It was Stay in the Sea,
Yes,
right?
it was.
Yeah, Stay in the
Yes,
Sea.
it was. Yeah, because it finished down in Santa Monica.
Yeah.
And what's her name? The runner who ran in the Olympics, the Olympic marathon in Europe,
Dina Castor?
Dina Castor.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking.
Yeah. By the way, I have to mention that I had a lot of support along the way. People would watch my result or where I was on the course. My girlfriend would post on there, "Okay, lose at mile 7, lose at mile 10, lose at mile whatever," and people would actually go there.
That's amazing.
And they would walk with me for 2 miles, 3 miles.
That is so great.
Whatever.
Yeah.
And then later on, another friend would meet me and do the same thing.
Amazing.
At the end, the last 3 miles, I had a group of, I think it was about 6 people that walked me to the finish. And when we got to the finish, we went inside the hotel there on Ocean Avenue, and Dina Castor came in and saw us sitting there. We were sitting around this coffee table and drinking beer, and of course, and she came over because she recognized that we had just, we were talking about the marathon. So it was really nice to speak with her.
Oh, yeah.
And I think she was a commentator that day.
I think so, yeah. Yeah. I mean, Dina Castor, just a decorated athlete, right?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, for sure. Yeah, so it was a momentous day. To answer your first question, It took me 13 hours.
Yeah. Wow. So the finish line was gone by then.
Everything was gone. All the signage was gone. It was dark.
That was all legacies left behind.
Yeah. Serious.
It's funny, when I looked at the results that year, I saw that my name was dead last.
Wow.
Out of all the 20,000 plus runners,
Wow.
I was dead last. And I thought, oh, well, that's kind of cool.
That's kind of cool.
You know, it won't be hard to find my name.
Wouldn't be here today.
Yeah, that's right.
If you didn't do that.
That's right.
But I had just had meniscus surgery, and the doctor really stressed that I should not
Sure.
do the marathon. And I said, but I'm a legacy runner. I have to do it. And he says, I would recommend against it.
Sure.
But I said, well, what if I use crutches? And he said, well, if you can use crutches, then you go ahead, but it's your decision.
Wow.
And I said, well, I'm going to do it.
And did you put any weight on it? It was just 1 foot or very little?
No,
weight?
I did. I was able to put weight on both feet, but of course the crutches kept me from putting my full body
Right.
weight on the crutches.
That's amazing.
And again, that's the reason why I took plenty of rest stops, and I didn't hurry.
Yeah.
And I just took it easy.
Yeah.
And I mean, I had done Ironman triathlons that have taken me 12 hours,
Sure,
so it wasn't
sure.
like I wasn't accustomed to being
Yeah.
on a
Yeah.
race course for a long period of time. And then having the support of my friends, from the triathlon club that I belonged to, and other folks that ran marathons and were athletes, and they would come out and just walk with me and keep me company, and it was. What could have been a horrible day turned into a wonderful day.
A beautiful day.
I want to look at the camera and say, that's a definition of insanity. I'd have never done it. Who would have done that?
It really is.
It really is.
Cliff, you had any? Did you have any close calls with maybe not making it to the start line?
Start line or the finish line?
Both.
Both.
Yeah.
Never the start line. I've always gotten there early. No, to be honest with you, I remember my PR 309, a guy by the name of Don Thomas, who I ran with at Laszlo Tabori. That's where I met Don.
Sure.
He came out at about mile 18, or I don't know where exactly, and cheered me through the intersections. He would run up in front of me and say, "Come on, folks, cheer this guy on." And of course, you can't be a slouch, right? When someone's doing that, you got to go.
You got to, yeah.
And so that was a great day for me.
Yeah.
And then the other one I remember is that I don't know what race it was, but I know that I got to the finish line, and I was at the finish line, and I looked down, and there was a guy sitting on the curb crying. And that was stunning to me. I felt the emotion,
Sure.
you know what I mean, that I had completed this unbelievable accomplishment, you know what I mean, of 26 miles. And I look at this guy and I said, I get it. It's because it takes so much.
Sure.
You know?
Yeah.
And so.
Yeah. I noticed that, Lou, you have the first medal, which was a coin, right? And you made it into a necklace. But, Cliff, is that something that you made? Okay. But the 1986 LA Marathon medal here, is this?
So I'll let Lou, you can talk
Yeah.
about this.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is the original medal.
By the way, mine's better looking than his. It is the original.
That's the original?
This is the original. Yeah.
Like you
Mine
just
is,
polished it every day? Or
Yeah,
for the
man, I
past
rub
40
that baby
years?
every morning.
This I have not done anything to. This is its original tarnished condition. I don't know if you can see it very well.
I'll film it too as well so we can put it up on the screen.
Okay.
Yeah.
And it's very easy to lose something like this. And many of our legacy friends have, in fact, lost theirs. And I decided to put it into this coin holder. I just got this at a numismatic store. You normally put a 50-cent piece or something into something like this. And I put that on, put it in there, and that's allowed me to hang on to it and not lose it. And then I put it on this chain, and it's always available. and I like to wear it.
Yeah, and we want to tell the viewers who are not familiar, it actually was not a medal they gave out; it was a coin,
Yes.
right?
Right.
Yeah.
This is a coin. This is the original thing. You can tell by my big fingers here.
Not a
holding
meme
this
coin.
little thing.
Yeah. It's
And
beautiful. Yeah.
Cliff has a pretty one, a pretty shiny one, because he did something to it that let him explain what he did.
Yeah.
Well, it really just the jeweler who made the clasp for me just said, you know what, I can make that look a little brighter if you'd like. And I thought,
Why
sure,
not?
why not?
Yeah.
You know, it is the original, and so that covering can come off. It's actually copper covered,
Okay, got
and
it.
so it just makes it shine.
Yeah.
And that's just because I got a shiny one because I wanted to be better than Lou.
Yeah.
Because my PR is better than Lou's.
Of
and
course.
So, you know
yeah.
what I mean?
309 PR.
That's
and
right.
310.
310. Oh my God! 1 minute. do you always give them crap about that, or?
I give him as much crap as I
Yeah.
can.
No, actually, we congratulate each other.
Yeah.
I mean, there's people that have run much faster than even Cliff,
Sure.
and they are.
Absolutely. Are you kidding?
Yeah,
and
Enrique.
they-
Yes.
And they are, we have some legacy runners that their PRs are under 230.
Wow.
So, we have some great runners in our group. I mean, we could mention some of them. I mean, but there's really, I don't want to leave anybody out.
Sure.
But, there are some that are still in their early 60s that are still running quite fast. Under 3 hours for a while, but
my
they've
God.
slowed down just like the rest of us, and so 3:30 is still a great time, but everybody slows down at some
Sure.
point.
Of course. Yeah.
But to go on about the medals,
Yes. The medal.
we had a legacy runner named Lonnie Harris decided that so many people had lost their medals, and so he took his medal to a metal shop where they made medals, and he had it recreated on this larger format. So now we have a bigger medal with a ribbon, and the ribbon states more clearly what it is. 1986 LA Marathon. And it's a beautiful thing that he did, and sadly Lonnie passed away shortly after doing this. So this is kind of memorial to
Commemorative. Yeah.
him, a commemorative medal, not just for the LA legacy runners, but also for Lonnie Harris that went out of his way to do this for us.
Yeah, it's remarkable.
And he made, what did he make, 100 and something of these?
He
And
made,
gave them away.
I forget how many we had in that time. I forget what year it was that he did that. But it must have been, it was a while ago. So there was a great number of legacy runners still available, like around 200 or so.
How many of the people listening to this broadcast were not born in 1986? I mean,
it might be quite a lot.
you know what I mean?
Yeah. It's
So
incredible.
that's why we get a lot of respect.
Sure.
A lot of respect.
Absolutely. I mean,
When you come out to our lunch after the race, when you come out to you've been to our
Yes.
runs, and you see those folks, it's just stunning. It's amazing that they're out there. Diane,
There's a lot of love shared among our group. We
amazing.
have become a second family to
Absolutely.
their own families because,
Absolutely.
as you can imagine, in 40 years, so many things have happened to everyone. I mean, you can go through the list, jobs changing, moving, buying a house,
Divorces,
selling a house,
deaths.
marrying somebody. Two of our legacy runners married during the time. I mean, they met each other and they married during the time they were running the marathon together, and they celebrated their 25th anniversary
On the
year.
course.
On the course,
So great.
mile 13, and they wore modified tuxedo and
Yeah.
gown, and it was a beautiful
Sure.
tribute to their own marriage.
Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
and when you talk about that, you talk about it's not just us, it's our family. The numbers of time that my son and my grandsons and my granddaughter have come to the race. I think of Ruben Rosales, whose wife and son come and meet him at mile, I don't know, 18 or 19, and his son several years ran in with him. And it's just all over the course where you have the dynamics of what happens is, my goodness, my dad or my mom have run this for 25, 35, 39 years, and I'm going to go out there and be with them. Marie Stevens' daughter, and son, who run with her at the training races all the time, and then run the marathon with them.
Yeah,
Yes.
every year they do that.
Yeah.
And if you look on the LA Marathon website, you will see their picture on our Legacy Runner page that they've put up.
Yeah. Yeah, you're right. I did walk with Marie one time, and she said that she's wanted to quit, but her kids won't let her now.
Yeah.
So, yeah, you're right. It's totally the support of the families. But Marie also did tell me something interesting, that the reason why most of you are here, it's a matter of luck too, right? I mean, we have, what's the gentleman's name who has the drone? He brings that drone.
Kevin Cimarusti.
Batman Kevin.
Kevin would have been a legacy runner, but he had that open heart surgery.
He had open heart surgery the day before the marathon, and he wanted to run the race desperately. He was in condition. He'd been training for months already.
Yes.
He was ready to go, but sadly his heart was
Yeah, and
became
Kevin
an
told me
issue.
he was to try and prove the doctors, he was doing laps inside the hospital, like, let me go, dude.
The doctor said he was the healthiest heart patient that they've ever seen.
Absolutely amazing. Yeah.
So this reminded me of a story. One of my neighbors that ran in this group of 5 of us, Jerry, we surfed together for years and ran together for years, and I finally convinced him to run the 3rd or 4th marathon. I don't remember which. And in the process, before the marathon, I got the flu, and I hurt my back. And after all this training, what could I do? I had to do the race, right?
Yeah.
And so we started out together, and we're running along, and he gets to about 10 miles, and he stops, and he's like wiped out, throws up. I stop, I wait for him, right? He gets going. I'm feeling sick. My back is killing me. There was a McDonald's downtown someplace. We get to about that McDonald's, and I said, dude, I can't go anymore. I said, you go, and you finish it. And he did. And I just walked it in. And, camaraderie is so important.
True.
You know what I mean? A connection.
Yes.
It is, I can do this.
Yes.
I can do this.
Yes.
Right? And you get it done, and it's an amazing feat. And if anybody has never done one before, don't do it at 76 like me, but do it.
Yeah. I think a lot of the viewers and listeners want to know, what was the first LA Marathon like? I'll start with you, Cliff. I mean, do you have any amazing memories of that day, or that means something to you? And something else, I always tell new runners, do not pay attention so much to your time. You'll never remember in 10 years. But if I ask you, what was that day like, you'll remember everything, right? And you probably remember your time, though.
First thing I remember is I never ran for time. He always ran for time.
Yeah.
Okay. I just was thankful I could get across the finish line.
Yeah.
Okay. But what stuck with me was the pain and misery in the course. It's like I could remember the first course, and if I drove down there in my car going through that first course, I'd go, man, I felt really bad at this corner. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But I don't know why. I think that there's some saying about youth being stupid. And I guess I was still youthful in my 30s. And you just powered on. You just powered on. And when you had someone in front of you, you thought you were pretty well fit, right? And you had somebody in front of you that was a little more chunky and not quite as athletic looking as you, and they're like powering on beyond you. You kind of went, what am I whining about?
Yeah.
So
yeah.
I don't have anything specific other than, thank God
Yeah.
I was able to finish.
I mean, looking at the videos from 1986 online, it's very clear. Like there was a lot of like hype that morning. I mean, it was the first one in LA. I mean, like you said, you probably have memories of pain in certain, corners. I have a question for you, Cliff. When you go by the Coliseum, does it bring pain?
Oh yeah, oh yeah.
That was
Every
the
time.
location, right?
Oh,
Every
yeah.
time. Yes, indeed.
And so when we have these conversations, then you begin to bring back these little pieces, like the
Right.
time when it rained so badly.
Absolutely. That a couple of times.
Oh
it's
my
done
God!
that, right?
Yes, so there was rain above the curb. Maybe
Yeah.
not this high. That's like that fish. It was this big.
In the rivers, right?
Oh my God!
I mean, it
Yes.
was
I mean,
incredible.
Yes.
I got done with that race, and I was freezing. I was so really cold. I went into one of the outhouses, and I thought I could be warm in there, and it was just as bad.
Sure.
And I got outside, and luckily, the person picking me up was in the family reunion center, and she was the first person I saw.
Yes.
Got in the car and left.
Yeah.
But those were like going through Hollywood when the wind was blowing so hard and it
Yeah.
was so cold. You just wanted to quit, but you didn't quit because you knew if you quit, if you stopped, you still had to walk in.
Absolutely,
Right? So
yeah.
keep running.
Right.
So
I had a good race that year in the rain.
Yeah, of course you did.
I had a good race.
You must have loved that a little bit, right?
Well, earlier we were talking about, planning your run pace, according to the conditions.
Yes.
And as you runners will know, is that when the weather is cooler, you will run faster.
Yes.
And so I was cool, and the water was cold and the wind. But as I mentioned before to you, as I mentioned to everybody, actually, is if you're cold when you're running, run faster. You'll warm up.
Yeah.
So that's what I did.
easy for you to say.
That's what I did in 2011, and the water. I wore the right shoes that year. I was wearing some K-Swiss shoes, and they had holes in the bottom of the soles for water drainage. They were intended for use as a triathlon, so that when you douse yourself with water, you won't be running in slosh in your shoes.
Yeah.
So on that day in 2011, it was raining, and of course, everybody was pretty much soaked, and the water was just gushing out the bottom of my shoes.
Yeah.
And I had no problem with traction. I had no problem with water squishing in my shoes, and I was able to run a good, comfortable race. Not a PR,
Sure.
but it was a good, comfortable race for me. Of course, after the finish, that was another story.
That was brutal.
I mean, there's a lot of stories, but this one is in particular. The rain was coming down so hard, the wind was pushing it so hard, it was coming down at a slant, and then thankfully I had stowed some dry clothes in the gear pickup area. And unfortunately, that year they picked an area that was all dirt. It was a vacant. It was a vacant lot, and nobody anticipated it would be raining like that. And so we had to go. And after running the race, we had to walk like half a mile to get to that in the first place, and then we had to walk around in this mud and try to clamor for our dry clothes. And everybody was trying to squeeze under the tiny little cover that there was in the bin that they used to store all of our dry clothes, and it was just a madhouse. Everybody's like, "There's mine. Where's mine? Where's mine? Look in that box over there. Maybe mine's in there." And it was memorable.
So just thinking about that and how we let me just say that none of the courses I've ever disliked. This course I like is fine with me, but I loved the course into Santa Monica when you came down through Brentwood, and the raining year that we talked about, the water was this far above the curb, but But that when you came down Brentwood, and you made that turn along Ocean Avenue, that was like, oh my God, that felt so good because you had so many people out there. You felt like a gladiator, running through the crowds, just like, I can't be a slouch anymore. I gotta crank up the volume here,
That was
a great finish. Yeah.
That was a great stretch of road. It was coming down San Vicente from Brentwood. It's a very slight downhill. And boy, on your tired legs, you can feel that downhill. Like you could feel just the slightest little hill. You could also feel this downhill. And, and once you're on that, it's like, okay, now I've got this made. I know I can glide all the way to the finish line now. You turn on Ocean Avenue, and once again, it's a gentle downhill, but you welcome that downhill.
Yeah. But the people. I've run 64 marathons, and Sacramento, Phoenix, Culver City, Orange County, whatever. But LA, it's the people, it's the bands. You know what I mean? And you have people in almost every intersection cheering you on, and that's really helpful.
Yeah.
I mean, it really is motivational to have that music. And even though the person next to you is all jacked up and you want to kill them because you're hurting so bad, you know what I mean? And somebody's standing there going, okay, you only got 6 miles to go. And you want to say, okay, how about you run it for me?
I love that. You're almost there.
Yeah, you're almost there.
I love
only
that.
10 miles to go. Oh, my God.
No, I'm not.
But it's the crowd. It is the people. The people. It's always been the most crowded race on every one of those corners. Bands, people clanging, making noise, cheering you on, and in the end, people handing you when nobody else is handing out food and bananas and oranges and water. There's people in the last 6 miles that are passing things out, and that is so important.
It's amazing. Yeah, it is absolutely amazing. I'm going to ask you in a second, Cliff, what your favorite course is. But I want to ask Lou. Lou, do you remember 1986 first marathon? You want to tell the viewers maybe something that...
I do remember a lot of it. It's first of all, it started at the LA Coliseum. And it's actually started on Figueroa just outside the Coliseum, but the race finished in front of the Coliseum.
Yeah.
I remember how we were dressed. We were dressed differently than they dress today. We were dressed in running shorts, very short shorts, singlets. Yeah,
it's true.
Very short shorts. It was the style back then.
Right.
And I remember the mass of people. Now, this was before there was any kind of timing other than people with clocks. They had clocks set up at every mile, and that's how you kept track of your mileage. I used a watch. They did have I think I had a Casio at that time, and every time I came to one of those mile markers, I would just click my watch and store that split.
That lap, yeah.
But and so in those days, the race started when the gun went off. It didn't matter if you were 10 minutes back.
Yes.
It didn't matter. That's going to add 10 minutes to your finish time.
I remember that.
And so, of course, that meant that everybody that was running for time wanted to squeeze as far forward as they could possibly. And sorry. So I was one of those, and I went as far as I dared towards the front because I didn't want to get in front of the elite runners.
Right.
I didn't want to get run down. I didn't want to impede their progress, but I did get as close as possible, and I was able to run a decent race. Now, that course existed for the first 10 years, and I actually ran my PR on that course. And it was another first of the LA Marathon was that they had invented the timing chip.
That's right.
And so we wore a little timing chip strapped to our ankle, and there were sensitive devices on the street that would record you crossing over it. And that was the year that I had my PR, that very first time that we used those timing chips. So it didn't matter where you started because the timing would recognize when you crossed the start line. And that's when your official time started. So that's probably how I was able to achieve that
Right,
3
yeah.
hours and 10 minutes.
Yeah, and LA Marathon was like the place of in the nation that had a lot of firsts. They started technology
Exactly.
for many of the races across the country.
They were the first to recognize legacy runners.
Yeah.
Although we weren't called legacy runners in the first 5 years, we were called fivers. And Fivers, yeah. And in the at the 10-year mark, we were called tenors.
Tenors, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Never liked those monikers, but
So this year will be 40s.
40 years.
the 40
We're
years.
having
Yeah. And what else did they do first? Oh, they were the very first marathon to also put your name, or your actual name, or whatever you wanted to put on your bib, so that people could recognize you. That people, strangers, see you running down the street, and they can just say, "Hey, there, go hard, Lou," or "You're almost there, Lou," or Cliff,
yeah.
So it was,
and that's helpful. Somebody calling you by name?
Absolutely.
yeah. And you turn around and go,
Hey,
"Do
Lou!
I know you?"
Hey, Lou!
Yeah.
No, it was that was a great first thing, and it was very popular, and they still do that for the legacy runners. Everybody else has to get just a regular number, that they can't choose or anything. But the legacy runners actually have permanent
numbers.
permanent bib numbers.
That's really great.
And so for the last 15, 20 years, I don't remember how long, we've all had the same number,
What's your number?
167.
10156.
Wow, that's so great. Yeah, it's unreal. Yeah.
So
never-
in
we'll never forget that.
that same light, first of all, we get into the B corral, okay, and start up front behind the elite runners.
Yes.
Okay, and the reason for that is because we're carrying the LAM 40 this year, 39. What year did that start?
That started with year one. I can give you a little bit.
There's some history there.
I can give you a little background history on that. The very first people that did that was the family of Elaine Herford, and she was a legacy runner. At that time, she didn't know it. We
A
didn't
fiver,
know
a
it.
tenner, or a
She continued doing that. Let me explain what they did. Her husband was in the hospital at the time, and they were televising the race on television, and he was watching. And so they created a big LA1 sign, which was like 7 feet tall. The ones we use now are 4 feet tall. And so they did that so that the husband would be able to spot them in the race. Well, that started the tradition, and of course everybody liked it, and so they kept doing it, and they did it for the next 23 years.
Yeah.
But then Elaine retired, and in 2024 we took it over. The legacy runners,
2024?
the other legacy runners, the rest of the legacy runners. We kept the tradition going. So at first we created the Roman numerals is what they used, and we carried that tradition on. But then when the ownership changed for the marathon, they wanted to go to digital numbers. So we changed to digital numbers, and we have continued that tradition to this very day.
Yeah.
So this year, when you see LA 40, you'll know that that's us, the legacy
The
runners.
legacy runners all together carrying it. Amazing. Yeah.
the other
Go
thing. Since we're
Yeah.
talking about starts, there was a false start.
What?
There was a false start.
It
Could have been
Ace-
number 3.
I think it was the one that was started downtown,
Yes.
right?
And everybody, I don't know what happened, but everyone went, wow, they're like, and they're, oh, no, back up. Start over again.
I think I can remember what happened. There was a time when, sadly, terrorism was a kind of a factor, and somebody had taken a large brown paper bag and folded it neatly like there was something inside,
yeah.
and nobody knew what was inside there, but it was like within like half a mile of the start of the race.
Wow.
And so they would not let the race start until they examined what was in that bag, and they put it right in the middle of the street.
Oh God.
So thankfully there was nothing dangerous in it, but some idiot.
Yeah, but the crowd, the runners surged and they pulled them all back and started them over again. And then the other thing is Muhammad Ali. He was the starter for so many years.
Yes. Right. I ran in downtown and waved to him. It was amazing.
I had the opportunity to meet him at the expo. And that's such a great memory. Such a great memory.
Such an honor.
Yeah.
He wasn't able to really talk at that time because he's, by that time he had the Parkinson's. But what he did was he would just stand up there on the starting booth, elevated starting booth, and he would just point at every runner that he could. I see you, I see you, I see you. Yeah. So it was very cool.
Yeah. Very amazing, right? Yeah. And I think, if I'm not mistaken, 1986, the LA Marathon, at that year, was considered the biggest marathon in the United States at that.
It was the biggest first-time marathon. Yes, they did a good job with the publicity, and of course, there was still a lot of excitement about the marathon from the '84 Olympics that had run through there. And I suppose many people like myself were inspired to attempt the first LA Marathon due to the excitement that we felt when we saw the Olympians running that marathon in '84.
'84, yeah, that's amazing. Yeah, Cliff, one of your favorite courses, if you had to pick one over the years
of LA
Marathon,
It's got to be the Stadium to the Sea.
Yeah,
that's the one that is a net downhill.
Yeah,
and people
it
love
really
going
is. I mean,
downhill.
even though I kind of like running past the finish line and going into Brentwood, passing the finish line, going, okay, I got like 6 or 8 miles to go. I know that I can finish that.
Cliff.
I know. I know that. Yeah. There's some stories about that too, by the way. But yeah, Stadium to the Sea, that was like super cool. We have so many great pictures. Speaking of Kevin running along with a hot dog in his mouth, because there's a certain corner where there's used to be a hot dog vendor there. And, just getting through Brentwood and making that left turn onto Ocean, and then it like opens up and you go, oh my God, I'm done. You know what I mean? I got like a mile and a half to go. Yeah. So that would be my favorite.
Yeah, that was a great course, right?
I'm kind of sympathetic to the original course. Starting and finishing at the Coliseum was special. We did that for 10 years in a row. And of course, as I mentioned earlier, that was my PR course. And there's just something special about that. I mean, the Olympic marathon finished in the Coliseum, so it was just so appropriate to do that. And the fact that it's a loop course, we ran through a lot of the neighborhoods that we run through even to this day, which are Chinatown, Little Tokyo, the downtown past City Hall, the Disney Hall, going through the Echo Park, and then Hollywood and Hancock Park. All these places, we're still doing a lot of that. And that's a wonderful thing, a wonderful part of the LA Marathon. And thank goodness that they've kept these iconic landmark communities in the race. Because as you're running along, you see all different kinds of people from all different,
another key to making it an interesting race. I ran Phoenix, flat.
Yes.
Flat, desert, nothing exciting. You run the LA, especially in the early years. You went through all of those boroughs, all those different places, and all those different people. And people were always out slapping your hand and greeting you and handing out food. And I mean, every ethnicity, every religion.
Yes.
Just amazing diversity, and really displays what the city's about.
Absolutely. Yeah.
That's a wonderful thing about Los Angeles is the diversity, and the different communities, and without any limits, every ethnic group comes out and supports the marathon.
Yeah.
They're all out there, They come out with platters with sliced oranges and bananas and pretzels, which is really a good thing to eat.
Beer.
While you're out there.
A lot of beer.
There's
on
a
the
beer
course.
stop.
A lot of beer.
Yeah, the Hash House
Never done there.
Harriers.
Never done it, but
The Hash House Harriers are
Yeah.
out there every year, and they have trays of little cups with beer. And
Absolutely. And they're
if you're,
telling you beer, and
I tried that one time.
not
a good idea.
Not a good idea.
And chili dogs over there by Echo Park now.
Also, I don't think that's a good idea either. But
that could be a problem.
it worked for Kevin.
I remember when my first course was the downtown LA, start and finish. So when they changed that course to Universal City,
Oh my gosh!
complained and cried.
That
right?
was such a pain.
What was that all about, right?
I don't know. We had to take the subway to get into town.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we did. We took the metro to get up to the start.
Yeah.
Interesting point about that. One of our legacy runners, when he turned 50, he was still a fast runner.
Okay.
He was so fast that he wanted to celebrate his birthday, which occurred very close to the start of the LA Marathon. He wanted to do something special. So he trained really hard to go really fast. And his goal, his stated goal, was to run the first mile with the Kenyans.
Okay.
With the leaders. He wanted to be with the leaders for the first mile. And, of course, he just had to run out of his mind to stay up with them.
Yeah.
He did that. Not only did he do that,
What was it?
he ran the first 3 miles with the Kenyans.
What?
Now, you will remember that running that race was actually downhill.
Yes.
Okay,
Oh,
from the start, running into Hollywood. It was on La Cienega.
Yeah.
And so that, of course, helped him.
Yeah.
But still, you
That's
got to move
pretty-
your legs pretty darn fast. And he's 50 years old.
That's remarkable.
Sub 5 minute mile.
Easy, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Oh my God, incredible.
I'll mention his name because I know he's watching. His name is John Araujo.
Oh my goodness, John!
Oh, yeah.
You are the man.
John can move.
Yeah, and he's got a great story.
Yeah.
You want a great story? Talk to John Araujo.
John is
got a great story.
Wow, incredible. Yeah. But, we were talking earlier, talking about a lot of names, over the years that, have contributed to, March 16th coming up. And, of course, we can always mention Bill Burke and Marie Patrick. I mean, just the founders of this race. And it's just remarkable. And other names we could think about over the years. I know the commentator we were talking about earlier.
Yes, Tony Rivas has
Tony
been
Rivas.
commentating the race every year since
Legacy.
1986.
Legacy. Yes.
He's a legacy announcer.
Yeah. I mean,
He's and we feel like he's one of us, actually.
he is.
Yeah.
He really is like the voice of the
Wrote a
LA
great book.
Marathon. Yeah. And just an incredible person.
Right. He's the most knowledgeable person that I've ever heard speak about all these races that he commentates on and has done background research on all these races and all the best runners, and he knows what's going to happen. He knows who's going to be in the front.
Yeah.
He knows all of these things. He knows their histories, and it's wonderful to just sit back and listen to him tell you. If you're interested in knowing anything about running a marathon, Tony Rivas is your guy.
I just don't want any of these people to be forgotten. Another great person I think of, Tom LeBonge, right, was a champion of the LA Marathon, right?
Absolutely.
I mean,
Tom LeBonge was our best supporter in the LA City Council, and he supported us. I have a great picture of him coming to the start one year, and sadly he's gone now.
His
But,
wife has carried it on. She was there for the grand entrance last year, I think.
Yes, she was there, right. He was a great supporter. He helped the marathon a lot. He supported it. And it started, actually, it might have been his idea to start it in Universal Studios that year. That was in his castle district.
Yeah.
But he wisely gave that up, and
Right.
we went back downtown after that.
Yeah. Any other names we could think of over the years that maybe, I know we were talking about Nick Curl earlier.
Rod Dixon.
Rod Dixon.
Good guy.
Yes.
Rod Dixon designed the first course, and he ran, I think he ran the first 3 years of the LA Marathon. I'd have to check on that, but he did design the course.
Yeah.
So, and those that don't know Rod Dixon, you should, because he won the New York City Marathon in 1983. And he also ran the Olympics. I believe he ran the 5K.
Yeah.
So he's one of those rare runners that has the speed to compete on a world-class level with the shorter distance runners. I think he actually was also a 1,500-meter runner as well, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah.
But to be able to run these short, fast runs, and then also be able to do it for the full 26.2 miles of a marathon is really remarkable.
Sure. Yeah.
I just say people in general, about legacy runners. There is a core group. Of course, with any organization, there's a core group. And if you come to the expo, you're going to see that core group there. The guys that come, set up, do all the work, get all the medals out there, set up the tables, greet the people. We have a T-shirt signing thing that we do and give some T-shirts away. They're just a great core group of people that come out, legacy runners, and support what we do, especially at the expo. That really brings them out. So I would suggest, if you have a chance and you're there, stop by and see us.
Absolutely. And I think we should also bring up Brian McCourt, because Brian has made it a point to make sure that the legacy runners are honored and not forgotten, and he intends to keep the history of your legacy moving, throughout the years. So I think we need to talk about Brian. I mean, he's done a great.
Yes, he's doing a great job of having the race continue on. And I spoke with Brian last year's race, and I asked him, you don't have any plans to sell this race or profit or anything like that, do you? And he says, oh no, we're going to keep it forever. So, and yes, they are doing something that's also remarkable, is that they're acquiring the history of the marathon. And because they were not there, during the early years, they missed out on a lot of the history. And the only place you're going to get that history is from us, the legacy runners.
Yeah,
we've been there from day one. And all this information, all of these stories, all of this history is contained in our minds. And so we are sharing that. We have all the medals. We have all the T-shirts. Some of us even have all of our bibs. And, it's a really important thing to capture the history of the race and maintain it and keep it going, grow it, but never losing, the history that went before, since day one.
Speaking of history, we got to bring up something funny. We were talking about this at breakfast this morning. The first LA Marathon, the winners got a Mercedes, right? They did, right?
Yeah, they won a Mercedes, yeah.
And then
Honda came in and they got a Honda car. So from a Mercedes to a Honda.
Yeah, we went backwards a little bit.
Yeah. It's kind of fun. Hondas are great cars. But, they're not a Mercedes.
Not a Mercedes. That's funny.
I was looking through my phone for some pictures, but I couldn't find them quickly enough. But there is also the 1,000-mile mark. that we celebrated last year, and they put on a really nice presentation for us at the grand entrance, or the grand opening, I should say, and they had pins and for us, and they really made it a really nice celebration.
Well, they actually awarded us something that is new. It was the third year that they were awarding the Golden Star Award.
Yeah.
And this is kind of a Hall of Fame kind of a thing, and they presented it to people that have made a contribution, to the marathon race, and of course, legacy runners belong in that.
Absolutely.
And I think we had to do 4.4 miles to get to 1,000.
Yeah,
it was on the race last year, 4.4 miles. We got 1,000 miles in, so that was kind of cool.
Yeah, that's really great. Yeah, amazing.
So they've taken care of us.
Absolutely. Yeah.
If you multiply those 1,000 miles by several hundred people, it gets to be a pretty big number, and that's not even counting the months and months of 50, 60, 70-mile weeks of training that allowed us to accumulate that
number of shoes we went through. The number of shoes we went through.
Oh, yeah.
Absolutely.
The model changes, the price changes.
Yeah.
Speaking of price changes, oh boy.
Yeah, exactly right.
Sorry, getting a phone call.
It's Dina Castor making sure.
She heard me say,
"Is this live? Is this live on Channel 4 or what?"
Yeah. Can we talk about something really amazing? And that is the No Legacy Left Behind on race day. Tell everyone listening or watching what you do. You wait till the last runner comes in, and we will be there this year filming the legacy. I'll be out there with you to the very end. You want to talk about it?
It got started with Sharon Carson.
Yeah.
Because Sharon was doing her 600th marathon, and I was her cheerleader. Okay, she wouldn't talk about herself, and so I made T-shirts up, and we did some interviews with the LA Marathon and got her some press, right? And so then we decided to make a banner, right, for Sharon when Sharon got done, and that banner turned into No Legacy Left Behind, because we stayed for Sharon, and then
we decided to
stay for everybody.
Everyone.
Yeah. And I think Lou was there until 9:00 at night.
I was there till 9:00. Yeah.
And because of personal things, I had to go home. And so some things come across to you and you go, huh.
Right.
Huh.
Yes.
What a great idea. So if you can imagine, and it didn't benefit just legacies. It benefited, there was like hundreds of people that came through.
There were other people, non-legacies, that were also finishing late. And we were happy to be there. Now, let me explain what it's like to finish the marathon in the dark. The marathon closes down at a 6.5 hour pace. So if you're after that, there's no signage left. There's still some painted lines, marking off the miles on the street, but they're hard to find. And if it's dark, you won't see them. So, it's kind of sad when you go to the finish line and there's nothing there.
Yes.
Nothing. No signage, no water, no recovery, no medal. So when we did that for Sharon, we recognized how important it is to have something there for these people that finish way after everything is gone. All the fast runners are gone. All the vendors are gone. The signage, there's no finish line left.
No hoorah for you.
What's that?
No hoorah for you.
Yeah. No hoorah for you, except the one that we
except
provided.
Except for Lucy Murphy out there with a clapper, clapping her.
But even she had to go home at some time.
Sure.
It wasn't just me and a few others. It was of the legacy group, but there were people from the EMTs that were supposed to go home.
Marathon workers stayed.
Yeah.
They were supposed to go home at a certain hour. When they learned what we were doing, they decided to stay also.
Amazing.
They stayed until the last runner came across the line.
Wow.
And the volunteers there that just decided on the spur of the moment that they were going to stay also. So it's very gratifying to provide that service for people who would otherwise have nothing at the finish line.
We've talked a lot today about accomplishment. We've talked about how we young studs, right? We got across that finish line, right? And we had these great races. But we're not talking about those people. What we're talking about is grandma. We're talking about a mom, you know, with 3 or 4 kids and, you know, overweight and finishing that line and breaking down in tears that they finished and got across that line. Absolutely. And seeing that emotion. Absolutely. And somebody being there to share it with them. And so that was really touching. Really touching.
Yeah, we're talking about people that have had trouble completing the race. We have people, I mean, you know, you can imagine I was out there for 13 hours with the crutches, and there are other people that have done that. I wasn't the first, and I'm sure I won't be the last. And so they take pains to accomplish the race. You know, sometimes you've trained for 4 months, 6 months, whatever, and then all of a sudden you catch the flu, and you just can't push yourself according to your training. Yep. We recognize that, and people that are struggling. There's people that have bad knees. Maybe they were great runners when they were young, but as they've gotten older, you know, the body starts to break down, and you just can't go as fast as you used to, but you still want to do it. And so we have dedicated ourselves now to continue doing this service for the slower runners. No matter how long they're out there, we're going to be there. And this year we're going to do it better than we have in the past.
Well, every year is a learning experience.
Yeah, we want to make it better than we have in the past. You know, we want to set up a nice little tent and have water, and going to have a box of medals to hand out to people when they finish, and have them go on their way with their medal. And that is the most important thing, after all. You know, to complete to complete the race and not have a medal, that's a little sad. I mean, you can get a medal later.
Of course.
But to have it when you cross that finish line,
it's nothing like it.
When you go home and you stop for a margarita on the way home, right? And you're walking to that restaurant and you're wearing that medal, and somebody goes, "Did you just run that race? You just ran a marathon?
That's so
my
true.
God!"
Happens every time.
Yeah,
right?
yeah. So it's very much akin to Students Run LA. If you can run the LA Marathon, you can graduate from high school.
Yep.
Right, that's that same concept.
Yep.
If I can finish that marathon and do 26 miles, I can do anything. I can lose 50 pounds. I can get a promotion. I can do whatever that happens to be. And that is, for me personally, I can run a marathon. He knows I can do anything.
Yeah.
You name it, I can do it.
Of course, yeah.
I think that's the beauty of the marathon, especially for young people that, I think a lot of times kids want something right now, you know. The marathon is not something you can have right now. The marathon is something that you have to train for, dedicate yourself to, and the payoff is crossing that finish line.
Yeah.
And to his point, to Cliff's point there, they learn that delayed gratification.
Yes.
They learn that if they take these steps to get to this goal and then accomplish that goal, this is a method that they can apply to going to school and finishing your high school diploma, going on and progressing step by step to get your college degree and beyond. The same applies to anything that you set your mind to do.
And how do they feel about me? I mean, how do they feel about themselves?
Absolutely.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah.
You take those steps, have this plan, this long plan, but the reward at the end of that plan, achieving your goal, is mind-blowing.
And no difference with a legacy runner. When Diane and
Tim.
I don't know how they do it. I don't know how they do it, but they do it. And they 13 or
A little
so
story
hours.
about last year, Tim and Diane helped several runners cross the finish line when they were suffering and they were ready to drop out. And let's face it, it's kind of easy to drop out. Once you get to mile 18, you see the finish line on the other side of the street, and you still have to go out and do another 8 miles.
Yep.
It's difficult for some people to get past that point. And Tim and Diane helped somebody overcome that.
Yeah, amazing.
And helped them complete the marathon. And of course, when somebody does that for you, I mean, you're eternally grateful.
Of course, absolutely. Yeah.
And they are kind people. I mean, they're legacy runners, you know, and we have a lot of love in our legacy runner group. And, you know, we share it with each other, but we also share it with the running community.
Yeah, it's a special group. There's no question, you know. And I know a lot of runners, first-time runners, or have messaged me and asked me what happens if I come in after 7 hours. And if you're a watcher and listening, the LA Marathon Legacy Runners
We'll be there for you.
Are going to be there, and this is an incredible group. And feel free, if you finish early as well and you want to come join us and help these runners come in to the late hours. Come join us, go home, shower, come back. We are going to be there to celebrate
Bring
this
us some
community.
treats.
And we guarantee you will be happy that you were able to finish your own marathon and then come back and help
somebody
somebody
else.
struggling to finish their marathon, and you can help them accomplish their goal.
Sure.
You'd never think that these kind of concepts that we're talking about would be a part of a running race. You know what I mean? The first time we ran, right? We never thought about how helpful it would be, how motivational it would be to people. You know what I mean? And so it's this thing is morphed into this community of good things. You know what I mean? It's just as hard to be good as it is to be bad.
Absolutely.
You know what I'm saying? Got to work hard to be good. Got to work hard to be bad.
Absolutely.
And so this is just such a great thing.
Yeah.
Well, one last point about this is that the mindset of everyone is that, hey, how can you expect me to come back to the finish line? I just did 26.2 miles. I'm dead tired. I'm not going back to the marathon. I'm going to put my feet up. I'm going to, sit in a hot tub, do whatever. But you know what? You will find that you can do it and that you will want to do it. Once you do it once and you come back and you see somebody struggling across that finish line, you're going to be very glad that you are there to help them across the finish line. That's all I got to say
It
about
is so
that.
inspiring. I've been there many times, and it's just unbelievable. So
Yes.
we look forward to that moment. I can't wait to film it and to be there with you. We could keep going on forever, but I want to get to just 2 points for each of you. If you would like to say something to the city of Los Angeles, to the people running the race. Again, we're gonna put this out during race week. Anything you'd like to say to the city of Los Angeles, to the people running?
Oh, absolutely. To the city of LA that promotes this race and allows it to continue. Let me tell you, you're doing a wonderful service for the community, and I believe that this is what people in political office are there for. And this is something that unites the whole community. And in these days and times, it's there's things going on that don't allow that. But this race brings together all kinds of people, and this is what we want. We want happiness among the people of the community. We want something that everybody can share and be a part of, and grow as a community, unified, in our goals for the future. But the race is an important thing that needs to continue forever.
Yeah. And to the runners?
To the runners?
Keep on keeping on. To grow on what Lou said, it's more than just a race. Obviously, by our conversation here today, it is about life. And it is every part of Los Angeles and Ventura County and Orange County. And we have people coming from all over that are legacy runners. But as it turns out, it's not just a race. It's about being a part of the community. And the Los Angeles Marathon City Council, Mayor Bass, and everybody involved does such a great job to plan it to the best and help the memories that we have become their memories, the first time runners' memories, the second time. People have run it 10 times and they're so proud of running it 10 times. And so it's just it's bigger than the city now. It's like, it's an amazing contribution to people, big people, little people, small people, old people, young people. It's just so much more than just a race. It's not just a race.
Yeah, well said. Yeah, completely.
Yeah.
Well, hell, why don't we just invite all of the politicians of LA, all of the mayor and the city council, and just have them all come out. If they don't want to do the race, they could come out to our late legacy run.
That's right. We're making that invitation right now.
You heard it. You heard it here.
You heard it first.
Anything before we wrap it up, as well as anything you would like to say to the fellow legacy runners who are watching this? I mean, you are the representatives of this special group. Anything you would like to say to them as we approach the 40th?
Well, I personally want to say that we appreciate you. I personally appreciate every single one of you over the last 23 years that we've been getting to know each other. We have a closeness with each and every one of you, and we hope to keep that going as long as possible. But even if and we do have some folks that, for reasons beyond their control, were not able to do a race, 1 year, but they come back. They come back the next year and they continue on. So what we like to say is that if you've done, for example, you've done 34 LA marathons and then you miss LA 35. You're welcome to come back. You're always going to be a legacy runner in our eyes, because let's face it, you've done 34 LA marathons. You are a legacy runner. And so we always welcome you back. You could come back and do the race, or just come back, do the runs, and just come back and visit and stay in contact with us.
Once a legacy, always a legacy.
Yeah. You have anything to say to the fellow legacy runners, Cliff?
Wow. I'm so proud to be a part of this group. Sorry about that.
You have an amazing voice,
No. Sorry, I got emotional. I'm so proud to be a part of this group. I am so proud to be associated with all of you. I'm so it has been such an impact in my life to get to know Lou, to get to know all of you, to become personal friends. There are so many personal stories that we can talk about, but I just think that you are just a great group of people, and I get where you've been, and I get where you're going to, and hope to see you on race day.
Amazing. Well, I just want to say it's been an honor to get to...
And thank you.
Yes, of course. I just want to say it's been an honor to get to know you. You know, I went to the first LA Marathon as a kid. My dad ran the marathon. And in my eyes, you guys have been like amazing. And I've always looked up to you. And to get to know you this year has been remarkable. So thank you for all the inspiration and stories you've shared with me. And I hope that we can bring more stories. And of course, after the marathon, I'm going to invite you back so we could talk about the race and everything that happened that day and the spectacular day, you know, at the 40th.
Well, in addition to that, you know, we want to thank you for doing this podcast, video podcast, and for bringing attention to the legacy runners. It's very nice to be able to tell our story. And hopefully everybody will find it interesting to, you know, we have a lot more to say, but,
Yes.
you know, time is limited here. But again,
I think
you.
we said a lot.
Thank you for bringing this out and for producing this very nice
You're welcome.
gesture.
You're welcome. And like I said, I'd like to bring you back after the race. We could share some more stories about everything, and that'd be amazing. So
This sit down right now is a lot about like what we have talked about today, how things have evolved through the years. You know, 20 years ago, we wouldn't have thought about No Legacy Left Behind. We wouldn't have thought about our brunch that we've done for a number of years, and things grow as people stay involved. And a big thank you for Lou and everything that he has done, because if it wasn't for Lou, we wouldn't be here.
yeah,
Well, it's you know, we have to mention Denny Smith was you know, my co-founder back in the day, and you know, he's taken a back seat now, but you know, he's still involved.
Yeah.
And you know, you know, we'll just keep on going as long as we can.
yeah.
As we like to say, as we legacy runners, well, we just don't know when to quit.
Yeah, you don't. It's amazing.
Too dumb to stop.
Well, if you, I'm going to publish this during race week. They have a booth at the expo. Please come by, say hello, introduce yourself. You want to hear a story. It is just remarkable the things that they have come up with over the years, and just their ideas on the race, about life. It's just so motivating and inspiring. So please come by the expo and come to the booth, right?
Come by, tell us your stories. We'll share some of our stories. We want to meet you. We think that you'll enjoy talking to some of the legacy runners that you know, that will be manning our booth. So do stop by.
Yeah, absolutely.
And if you forget my name,
Yeah, can't forget that. But yeah, thank you for watching, and I think you can see and understand that this is an amazing group, and they're just talk about determination and resilience. And if anything, I hope they've helped you realize that you can do anything and you can achieve anything you put your mind to, and nothing can stop you. So again, you know, my name's Rizzo. I'm LA Marathon Ambassador. It's been an honor this year, and we are approaching the 40th marathon of the LA Marathon. It's going to be a spectacular day. So, gentlemen, thank you for coming on the podcast. Like I said, we're going to bring you back, and race day. Both of you have an amazing day, and of course, you know, we'll be out there with you. So, thank
our
you.
pleasure.
Good
Thank
luck
you.
to everybody doing the race.
Yeah, good luck, everyone. We'll see you. Special thanks to Lauren Hiltzer and his production company, HK Corp, for allowing us to film at their office. The podcast is available on all platforms. Thank you for tuning in. We'll see you soon.